if you have retirement funds, meaning IRA or 401k funds that are tax deferred, and you're looking for a pension plan, this is the place that you can do it. It's just a self-made pension plan where it's just boring down the highway, will work for you. And at the end of the day, when you decide to turn on this spigot for income, that income will be there for life for you and your spouse. Today, we want to discuss the myths of annuities. It's probably the most misunderstood product out there. I'm not here pushing annuities at all. I have a confession. That is one of the areas I got started in the financial business decades ago. So I know a lot about annuities, and I know a lot about the dirty secrets behind them. It's a product that I actually do like for a certain situation for the right type of investor. Okay. So we're going to go over all the myths about annuities. For somebody to say, oh, I love an annuity, it has to fit a right category. And then if somebody comes to me and says annuities are the worst product of all time, it's such a generic statement that it shows complete ignorance, to be honest. The issue is annuities, there are literally dozens of insurance carriers out there with hundreds of products. It's like saying, I don't like cars. Well, which kind of car? There's a lot of bad cars and a lot of good cars. So we're going to cut through those myths today so that you can be educated on what an annuity is. And then at the end of the day here, we're going to show you a way that you can get the best of both worlds here. You could still buy an annuity for what you wanted it to do, but also place money in another area that has some of the benefits that the annuity does, such as no stock market risk. And that is the world I live in. And we want to have that discussion. So let's start with annuities. Annuities, as you know, is where you put money in with an insurance carrier, and then they're going to guarantee that money in some fashion. Okay. And then they're going to give you a portion of that money back, or you can take that money out after a long surrender period, usually 10 to 15 years, depending. Okay. We're going to go through, there are really kind of three main annuities. One is known as a SPIA, an SPIA. It stands for Single Premium Immediate Annuity. And we're going to talk about this for probably exactly 20 seconds. Almost no one buys these anymore because what you're doing is taking a portion of your money and giving it to an insurance carrier for an annual payout now. This is how old annuities used to be. And this is where annuities get their bad rap. Most people do not buy annuities this way. I have been in this industry for over 20 years, and literally I have never seen myself or anyone I know even sell one of these to somebody. So let's just put that to bed. If anybody comes to you with a single premium immediate annuity, probably run for the hills, because you could do better literally putting that money almost anywhere else and going and, earning the interest and then having full liquidity, because you will not get liquidity with a single premium annuity. Okay. Now, the second one is a variable annuity. And this is something that your financial advisor sells you, because what happened was financial advisors were absolutely against annuities because they weren't figuring out a way to get paid realistically. I would stay away from a variable annuity because of this. At the end of the day, it is an insurance wrapper around being in the stock market, which literally makes no sense to me. If you want to be in the stock market, be in the stock market. And the guarantee on this thing is so paper thin that at the end of the day, it's not what you think. What happens is, yes, whatever you put in, they tell you that money is guaranteed, but it's only guaranteed in a death benefit, right? So the idea is the account can actually lose money because you are at risk in the market. What they're telling you is that whatever you put in, if you died while you were still involved in this product, they will pay your family a death benefit. But for most of them, here's the catch. They're not going to pay that death benefit in one lump sum. They're going to string it out over years. I've seen some where literally the payout schedule was 30 years. Think about that. So yeah, you put in $500,000 into a variable annuity, the market doesn't do well, and let's say just it drops to $450,000 and you pass away, they're going to pay your family, that's right, in today's money at $500,000, forget the inflation, and then what's going to happen is they're going to pay that money out to your family members over, 10, 20, 30 years. It's still guaranteed because they gave you the money. You didn't lose any money in the long run, but come on, that is not what you sign up for. So my advice to you on that is, if an advisor tries to sell you a variable annuity, usually it's because you're already looking at other options for annuities and he wants to show you that he has the annuity so he can make money off of it rather than you going across the street. But it's probably not the same product that was offered by someone else. So be very wary of variable annuities. What that leaves you then is what's known as a fixed annuity. And there are two major types. One is known as a MIGA. MYGA. That stands for multiple year guaranteed annuity. These work similarly like CDs, where the difference is the interest and the way they're protected. Okay, as we know, CDs are protected, FDIC insured, and you make your interest. The difference with that is you get taxed on that interest every single year. Makes sense? Now, the difference with a MIGA is the protection comes at a different level, usually state level, okay? And you can look in your state to see what that is, the amounts that you could put in, and also is backed by the insurance carrier. So if you're with a top insurance carrier, you're pretty safe to know that that money is going to get paid, okay? Unless we just go back to caveman times and have a major financial meltdown. In 2008, these MIGAs were still strong. Okay. Insurance carriers are some of the strongest companies in the world. The second part of it is, though, what's different than the CD is that on a MIGA, you are not taxed every year on the interest. You are only taxed at the end of the contract. So if you had a 5-year MIGA, if you're getting an interest rate, you don't get taxed on your gains every year. You only get taxed after the 5 years if you pull the money out. As long as you keep it in the annuity, you won't. The tax is deferred. You can also do an exchange that allows you to move that money into another annuity, much like how real estate has an exchange. And again, when you move that money into another annuity, you don't pay the taxes as well. So it has slightly a better tax advantage than a CD, has roughly similar protections, just it's not federally, it's through the state guidelines, which you want to go check out for your state. And then the last thing there is, as we said, you've got the tax issue and probably the rate on a MIGA, I'm pretty sure about this, is slightly higher than what you would get in a CD. If you went today and looked for a CD, you'll probably see a certain rate on, say, a 3 or 5 year. That MIGA is usually going to be about 0.5% higher. They realize this because insurance people know CDs better. And so it's an extra enticement by the insurance carriers to get you going. Okay. The final area here would be then what's known as a fixed indexed annuity. And this is probably the number one product that is offered to people heading into retirement. And honestly, I don't mind MIGAs for small amounts of money if you're having it sit there for a while versus a CD. It's not really something that I advise. It's not part of retirement planning, so to speak. It's just more like, hey, I've got some money over here that I want to tuck away for a couple years for emergencies. This is the number one product that people try to sell you. The problem is that the product is a decent product. Here's what I always tell people when I talk to them. Overall, annuities aren't really bad. What's bad is the majority of people who sell them, because you practically, to get an insurance license, it's not that difficult. You don't even need like a college degree. I don't even know if you even need a high school degree to get it. You just need to pass the test and you're in business. And I find that 9 out of 10 people in this industry with annuities literally have no idea what they're selling because all they're focusing on is the fat commission. Okay, we cover a lot of content on here, and I'm always asked this important question: where do I start? What is a good first step? Well, if you're looking for a way to diversify your retirement away from market volatility and still get competitive returns, I want you to watch this free on-demand training. In under 30 minutes, I will walk you through the exact strategy that smart and wealthy investors like Warren Buffett have used for decades, and they do it by investing in what's called life settlements. We'll break down how this works, real case studies, and how you can add this market-independent asset class to your portfolio without having to lock it up for 10 to 15 years in some low-performing annuity. You will learn how to build stable, predictable growth and, yes, get true diversification, especially in today's uncertain environment. All you have to do is go to lifeassetllc.com/webinar. Again, that is lifeassetllc.com llc.com/webinar, or you can click on the link below here and watch it now. It is completely free, and I think you'll find it will be a game changer on how you think about investing for your retirement. Okay, now let's get back to the show. Commissions on annuities are upfront most of the time when it comes to a fixed side. That is the problem. So it's all about making you buy it, and then after, that's where the relationship falls apart. A fixed indexed annuity works this way. You get a crediting method on certain areas. Let's say the S&P 500. You can pick the S&P 500, and whatever it does in that next year, they will credit you to a certain ceiling. It's what I call the cap rate of what you could get. So let's make it, say, the cap rate, I'm making one up here. I don't think this is today's, but it gives you an idea. Let's say the cap rate on a fixed index annuity is 6%. Okay. So what happens is in the year, they go to see what you did in that year. And if the market went up 5%, you're going to get 5%. If it went up 6%, you get 6%. If it goes up 10%, you get 6%. Okay. Now, if the market drops and goes down 10%, you just get a zero. You don't lose. So as you can see is they're taking the risk and reward sides and slimming it down. Here's where this is sold like, I can't believe when I hear some of these it's dishonest agents out there. And I'm not saying all agents are dishonest, but I met a few of them. They're going to tell you get market-like gains without market risk. And that is such BS, because you have to understand that the insurance carriers have to work the numbers to give you a okay return. They cannot give you stock-like returns as in when the stock market's good, because they would go bankrupt. They have to make sure that it settles in somewhere on their annuities of making 3, 4, 5, averaging maybe 6%, because they have to make their cream on the top on what they're doing, while at the same time making sure the money you've put in there, that they can be solvent to guarantee that. So they can't take wild risks with the money. They just have to make sure that they can make enough money. Usually they sit in areas of buying, corporate bonds. Okay, that's how they do it. And they're just taking a slice off the top. So they have to make sure that those corporate bonds that they're working with, that your numbers don't outpace what they're making. Because if it does, they are underwater and they'd have to go out of business. And insurance carriers are very good at their numbers, these large companies, and knowing what it is. So what happens is, if you're making too much money in the beginning, this is the dirty secret of fixed indexed annuities. They have a right to adjust the cap rates while you're in contract. Your insurance agent most likely never told you this. You looked at the cap rate year one and saw that it was 6 or 7%. And oh, by the way, they gave you a bonus, like for coming in, let's say it's 10%. So let's say you made your 6% first year. They will literally come to you and tout themselves a hero and say, I made you 16% in the first year without market risk. Think about that. That technically is true, but it gives you a false sense of what's going to happen in the next 9 years. That bonus is year one. That's it. That's never coming back, right? So they've already gamed the system by giving you the 10%, which, by the way, you only get that 10% if you stay with the contract the whole way, right? You only get it that first year. And then you get this really good cap rate that gives you that number, so that they go, wow, you're thinking, wow, I made 16% with no market risk. And I got a friend over here in the market who only made 7%. I'm so smart. I don't even risk the downside. Well, guess what? You're not getting 16% the next year. You're lucky if that cap rate's still 6. And what they'll do, and they've done it, and I can show you historically, they might cap it to 5 the next year. They might cut it to 4. Then what they do is they take away, you might have selections to go into different caps or different selections of crediting methods that might be 4, 6, 8. And in bad times, it might get cut down to 2 or 3, and they're going to game it so they know that the average investor maybe makes 4%. This is what they do. They can massage those numbers as you go along. And by year 3 or 4, you're going, wait a sec, I'm not making 16. This year I made 0. This year I made 3. What the heck is going on? And you realize you're stuck with this thing for the next 7 years. And you go to reach out to that advisor, and guess what? He's gone because he was paid his money up front. And all he's going to do is do a review with you year 2 or 3. And guess what he's going to try to sell you? He's going to try to sell you another annuity because that's all he knows how to do. Or he's going to sell you another product called an IUL, an Index Universal Life, and claim tax-free retirement. There's a lot of myths behind that as well. Or try to sell you long-term care. That's about it. 3-trick pony. And once you say no to these things, guess what? He stops showing up for the reviews and he's gone. And now you're sitting here with this complicated product, year 4 or 5. You're pissed because you feel like you were duped because you were sold a product by a salesman, not by a financial expert. So this is what you have to realize. Now, why would you buy one of these? Because in a fixed index annuity, if you're smart about it, you will get something called an income rider. It will come with a charge. You can get the income rider, and what this does is provide a pension plan. That's how annuity should be. It's just a deferred pension plan. It's a secondary Social Security plan for you. And that's how you should look at this thing. It's not about upside gain. It's about what will be there for me in 5 or 10 years or 15 years if I want to take an income. So for me, when someone comes to me and says, I'm looking for an annuity, I say to them, are you looking for a secondary income plan? If they say yes, I said, okay, let's look at that. And I have people that I can put you in touch with. And I'm going to have one of the experts on here soon, has helped people with millions of dollars placed, but he agrees with me it's for a pension plan. If you're not looking for a pension plan and you're just looking for gains, this is not the place to be. So here is my tried and true. If you have retirement funds, meaning IRA or 401k funds that are tax deferred, and you're looking for a pension plan, this is the place that you can do it. It's just a self-made pension plan where it's just boring down the highway, will work for you. And at the end of the day, when you decide to turn on this spigot for income, that income will be there for life for you and your spouse. This is the only way I would ever recommend an annuity to somebody and let them know they're not going to make crazy gains. They're just going to have that snugly safe money waiting for them, much like a secondary Social Security plan. For those other people who are looking for outside the market, but don't want to wrap it up in some type of annuity and have games with these caps, once I open their eyes, is I'm like, you're not really looking for the guarantees that insurance has. You're looking for a way to make money outside the market. And that's where you go to the alternative space. Right? Yes, you're giving up the guarantee that insurance carrier gives you, but when you have guarantees and safety, you're going to lose 2 things: earnings, right? So low returns, and you're going to find a very long lockup period. You're going to lose liquidity by a ton. That is where I show my clients a way to get money without putting it at the mercy of the stock market, but not shoving it into something with low returns and a super long lockup period. And that is where we go. We discussed life settlements. Life settlements is where you're buying insurance policies on elderly people who have sold them off, and then you get paid out when they pass away. It's a plan that Warren Buffett has been using for decades. He's been doing very well with it. Studies show that ultra wealthy for decades have been making double-digit returns. We have worked with some clients just recently in the last few months who have seen payouts in 7-figure payouts where their averages have been in those 2 policies double-digit returns, just right along. We're just following the path of Warren Buffett. So that's where I explain to people is sometimes they go to the annuity because they're misled about how it works, where yes, they get the safety, they get the no market loss, but they face long lockups and the returns are not good. And there's charges usually attached every year. So I say to them, well, are you willing to give up the safety that the insurance carrier gives, but you're not going to face any type of typical risk like market risk to make a decent return? And they say yes. So what we do now is we work with a lot of people where maybe they were thinking of putting a large amount of money with an annuity. We show them that maybe you should just take a portion of that money and put it into alternatives like life settlements and put just a lower amount, slightly lower amount in the annuity. That is the perfect blend. You're taking money away from the market, which is what they want to do. And most of that money is going to be done in a pension plan. At the same time, they're taking a small chunk of it and taking it outside there for even more diversification, which this show is about, which is true diversification. That way now they have money still in the market. They have money in a pension plan that is safe and guaranteed. And now they've taken a small portion of it to work outside both of those arenas, the safe money bucket and the risk bucket that is the stock market. And it works for them in any environment. It doesn't matter what politics are. It doesn't matter where we are with world crises or Ukraine or the Palestinian issue. This money works basically on its own because it's tied to the death benefit of somebody's insurance. And that's how it works. So if you are looking or being pitched annuities, you need to rethink why it is you're buying the annuity. If you're not buying it for the pension plan down the road, you just like the idea of no stock market risk, well, then look for something with no stock market risk that has decent gains, the gains that you're not going to probably find in the annuity, no matter what your insurance person tells you. Their numbers probably won't work out. And that's where we come in. We can show you, if you show us their reports, we'll show you the true numbers and have that discussion about maybe you need to do a blend, do a little less in the annuity and look for outside places like alternative investments to make that happen for you so that you have a nice blend of, again, still stock market with a decent amount of your money. You have your safe money, but you're also making money outside both of those areas, which is what Warren Buffett does every single year with great results.